Well, guys, I rarely meet anybody out here on my walks, but today I met Alfonso. He lives in this corner lot here, and him and his wife do these wonderful decorations. Every month they do something. Every month of the year they do something. And of course, this month, it's Memorial Day celebration, which is nice. So it's very beautiful of them to do that. And I asked permission to tape these. He said it was okay. There's our flag with another flag underneath it. I don't know what the other one is. There's all kinds of flags there on the lawn. Very beautiful. Different countries, organizations. So thank you, Alfonso. That's very beautiful. All right, kids, I don't know what I'm going to do next. Go out here to the street only because, like I said yesterday, there's some motion. The cars are going by, so otherwise you guys just see gray pavement all the time. And just like I said yesterday again, this street out here is called Deep Creek Road. So, yeah. Deep Creek Road, and this is Fremont, California. You can see some hills over there. When I'm looking at them through the camera, they look small, but obviously they're pretty good size. Oh boy. So yeah, once our car goes by, I put the phone down. So I suppose out of respect for people's privacy, but they probably don't care. I don't know. Anyway, I had fun a little while ago giving you guys an unusual fact. I went to Gemini. I used Gemini, Perplexity. Oh, let's see, what other ones do I use? ChatG and some others. Plus I use a lot of the video ones like LTX, Video AI or whatever it's called, the big one, the big important one, and several others, Rendora. Trying to create videos, of course. I hope that they all give me, roll my points over month after month, because I haven't been over there for 4 to 6 weeks, but anyway, yeah, so you can see it's a beautiful day, Memorial Day. There's a school bus. I don't know why there's a school bus. I was going to go look at flowers, but I'll just as soon do what I'm doing, I guess. I could walk this way long enough to come back into the park, but I may not. I don't know if I will. Depends on how I feel. There is another part of the mobile home park down the street here, and it has a side entrance. So, might be some different flowers there. Oh, it's nice out here. The weather's nice. It's probably what I would guess the 60s. I don't want to, temperature-wise. I don't want to go look on my phone because I'll lose my place in the I'll lose my place on the video. This is like the 4th video I tried to make, and the others were just hella short because I messed up something with my hand or something, you know. You can see the fence of the mobile home park and the sidewalk. Nothing much here to say or see. It's all pretty boring, I guess. There's me walking with my plaid pants. Oh, Lord. I take breaks because I get tired. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what subject matter to have in my really short videos that I like to do. They're under a minute. I'm leaning toward doing odd facts because I can find lots of odd facts on TikTok or Google or Gemini, any of those places. And out here on the street, I'm having my voice, loud. It doesn't bother anybody because there's a fence here and there's houses over there, so it's not like I'm walking in the park talking loud, because I've heard people say things about other people doing that anyway. So no, let's see me think if I can think of any odd, unusual facts. One of the ones that's the most common that I hear is the woolly mammoths were still alive when Queen Cleopatra was on the throne of Egypt. That's a pretty good one. And the company known as Nintendo, even though it was known as a gaming company here in the late 20th century, early 21st, started back in the early 1900s, like 1910, 1919. I never did look up what they made at that time. I was also surprised to find out that in the early days of the automobile, it was a French automobile made as early as 1891. Some of those early automobiles were electric. And that surprises me, because electricity itself was just becoming a thing. So, yeah. So a lot of interesting things in history, and things about animals, and they've been apparently oceanographers have been exploring the deeper parts of the ocean, and they've been finding creatures that certainly nobody's ever heard of before or seen before, that look way different. Put a lot of that on TikTok too. I've been trying to spend a little time on RedNote, but I don't seem to do well over there. There's a couple of sites where when I try to sign in, something goes awry, and I think RedNote is one of those. So, and I mentioned to you guys yesterday, I think, that I have two phones, and I bought one for my sister. So somebody at Samsung, or not Samsung, Verizon, decided to give me a fourth free phone. I'm trying to make that work properly. It's better than it was. At least it's somewhat working, but I made some kind of mistake putting it in some kind of a special dark mode. So all the icons look very different than any other phone. I don't know if I can figure out how to put it back or not. So yeah, but I can ask Gemini or something. Also, as I mentioned to you guys, the studio equipment is broken. I did something to the audio last week that messed it up. So I gotta go. I don't know if I feel like walking this whole thing. I might or might not. I don't know. I'm trying. It's farther than it looks. Yeah, so I put in a virtual cable thinking I could record more at night without waking up my housemate, but the whole thing backfired, because then it made it so I couldn't use the Zoom recording device in the regular way that I usually do. And I usually tape my show on Zoom. I'm trying to learn Google Meet and Facebook, but I haven't really learned them yet, to tell you the truth. Trying to learn them though. So yeah, not much else I can say. Boy, this other entrance is a lot farther than I thought it was, man. I've been out here just on this video alone 16 minutes alone. Here's a big entrance. I didn't see that before. Can you see that? Huh. All right, well, I'm going to keep going just in case. But yeah, I like to know stuff about the presidents. Different presidents who did this or that and unusual things. Taft apparently had a huge bathtub put in the White House because he was a big guy. And I'm gonna probably put some of my poetry up here. I've got a lot of it recorded already. I just haven't posted it yet. So, what else, you guys? Not much else I can say. I only brought one phone with me today, so once I turn this video off, it'll take a long time for it to process, which means I can't do another video right away, probably. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if you can make one while the other one is processing, or I could just not start processing the other one, I guess. Could do that. Oh boy. Here's a sign. It was flashing, but now it's not. I don't know why. It was flashing for a while. There was something pretty faint. It was having little flashes at the bottom, back and forth. Yeah, I guess it's not doing it now. Or it is, and I just can't see it through the phone. Man, this is a long distance. Jeez. Some big houses. Look at that house. That is huge. Talk about a McMansion. Yeah, okay, well, I don't know, you guys. I don't know what else to tell you. I can tell you a little bit about my life, I guess. You know, I've told you some already. When I lived in Arizona, it was very fun to live there. Part of the time, I did some volunteer work at a Lutheran church in Tempe. I want to say it was St. John's Lutheran, but I'm not sure. I think it was on, might have possibly been on McAllister, or it was on a street that connected to McAllister. Anyway, I went to the priest and I asked if I could start a lunch program for the kids across the street at Arizona State. He said yes, that would be fine. And he gave me the money for the groceries. I'd go over to, I think it was Bash's, was the grocery store. And I'd just get a few things and make something simple for lunch. Sandwiches, or here comes somebody. I'm going to get off the sidewalk. Yeah, sandwiches or something, you know, or what I called Mexican pizza, which was just like a taco with stuff on it. So, yeah. Anyway, that was fun. That sure is a big house, boy. I'm going to take another picture of this house here in a minute. Well, here it is right here, but just amazing. It's huge. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Not too many students came, but a few did, and I like to think that I was helping those few students with the cost of their lunch. That was later, I think that was later. I also worked at a restaurant called Hobo Joe's as a fry cook. That was a fun job. At that time, I really liked being a fry cook. And there's a long story that I tell sometimes about we had a special on Tuesdays from 6 a.m. to noon. All the pancakes you could eat, 49 cents. And of course, I was the cook, so I had to learn how to make pancakes very, very fast. Very fast. Just flip them over the grill without even putting the spatula all the way under the pancakes. Hobo Joe's is long gone, but I was happy to see on the internet that it's still mentioned. The history of it is still mentioned. They put up, housing there now, of course, but at least it's remembered. It was a fun place. I also worked, and I only know these names because I live there. I worked out at a part of town called Five Points. And at that time, which was the very early 1970s, there was a lumber yard out there. And I was a ripsaw operator. And that job was actually fun too. I had a couple of jobs I didn't like very much, and I'll tell you about those too, but I'll try to get these flowers here a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so that was fun. I had a job in a factory, standing in a pit, and the swamp cooler shell, the metal shell that the swamp cooler sits in, would come to me, and I was supposed to put a couple bolts on it, and that would go. One would go to the left, and then the other would go to the right. So that happened. And I had a job for like just a few minutes shoveling sand. I couldn't last. Oh, I'm out of breath. I couldn't last more than just a very few minutes in that job, I'm telling you. Very few minutes. I left very quickly. So, but yeah. So at some point when I lived in Phoenix, I hitchhiked back to Ohio and got my green Chevy Nova, my 1964 green Chevy Nova, and drove it back to Phoenix. And when you come into Arizona in the north, from the north, there's mountains like Sonora or something. And I decided to come down the mountains and turn the engine off. I don't know why, whether I didn't have enough gas or what, but it was a very foolish thing. I didn't get hurt or anything, but it was pretty foolish. And so when I lived in Tempe, Phoenix, I also had a bright orange 1959 Volkswagen that I wound up giving away to someone. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Those are some of the things I did when I lived in Phoenix. I was only there about a year and a half. Maybe, I'll see, I left Bowling Green at spring of 70. Hitchhiked some around the country in the summer, but I don't think for very long. Seems like I was gone longer than I think I was. I mean, shorter than I think I was. So, Came to Phoenix probably in the late summer of '70 and stayed there until, oh, I don't know. Let's see, I was in California by November of '73. And when I left Phoenix, I did spend a few months traveling with a gal named Kathy that I mentioned a few videos back. She and I were an item for a little while, not too long, maybe 6 months. So yeah, there's all that happening. I don't know what else to tell you. Of course, I say that a lot when I don't have anything to think about. I can go ahead and think of something here. So, yeah. Right, I'm just, nothing much else here. I like this Cadillac over here. I'll take a picture of it maybe after a while. It's dark blue. I didn't used to like Cadillacs, but somehow now I do. I don't know why. Oh, Lord, I think I'll go this way. As I know these streets a little bit on this side of the park. Oh, my God. There's a flower that's kind of old, seen better days. Still blowing in the wind. Oh boy, I am tired. Kind of walked farther than I probably. Well, it's good for me. I had a heart attack back in 2014, and this is 2025, so it would have been 11 years ago. I'm still around, so thankful for every day, pretty much, when I remember to be thankful. Okay, there's a flower seen from a strange point of view, and etc., etc. What else we got here? A cactus. A lovely cactus. Okay. Oh boy. What am I, 2.5 blocks from home, I think, at this point. That's quite a walk, boy. That's a substantial walk. I used to bring Shannon on these walks, but I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. She certainly likes to let her opinion be known about how things should be done in pretty much any situation. So I feel like I have more freedom to walk where I want and when I want and how long I want. If I just go by myself. It's only late May and a lot of the flowers, the blooms are just gone or dying out. That's a shame. Oh boy. All right. There's a Buick. I like Buicks. Oh boy. I'm just walking. I gotta get these steps in before I... There's some flowers blowing in the wind. That's kind of cute. I like flowers blowing in the wind. It's cute. There they are. And of course the wind dies down sometimes when I... Okay. Alright, well... Yeah, what else can I tell you? I was born 2 or 3 months premature. Dad said I was so small that they used a dresser drawer for a crib. And of course, as I said before, my mother passed away when I was 2. It's always been a traumatic thing for me not to have known her. Yeah, so, okay. When I was really young, before school, we lived in town in Vermilion. Like well, not even 1 block, just very close to the elementary school. The elementary school had a street in front of it, and we were just one very, very short block away. Like, really short. And then Dad bought the property out in Vermilion Township. He had a friend named David Hoffman, who I haven't spoken about enough. Mr. Hoffman was apparently a banker, and there's a part of Vermilion called the Lagoons, and him and his wife had a yacht, small yacht. People in the lagoons could park their yachts right at the house because the house butted up against the lagoons. So my brother Martin and I would go over there and clean his boat every now and then. And his wife would give us a Pepsi as a treat, and then sometimes we'd all go out on the boat. I have kind of a mixed feeling about boats and water. Oh, hell yeah. So we did that, and then when my dad first built our house, we didn't have enough money to finish hardly anything, so we had kerosene lamps for light. We had an outhouse for 2-3 years at least. There was not enough wood left to make the walls inside the house, so we put up sheets, and the house was very small, sitting on a simple concrete slab. But, you know, as much as I feel somewhat disparaging about all that, it still says that my dad tried hard enough to build his own place with what little bit he had to do it with. So that's beautiful. Yeah. Alright, kids, well, this is at 28 minutes. I'm gonna maybe stop. Yeah, plus I'm reasonably close to the house.